Hello. Hello, my juniors. By the way, I'm going to strangle all of you. Nobody told me that I put the wrong questions up. I put last week's questions. Well, you're welcome. You got to do the same questions. So, ha, ha, ha. The questions that were supposed to be on last week, you got to figure out that I'm learning how to do this stuff too. Questions that were supposed to be on last week were, what is Pearl's response when asked who made her? And she says, my mother, not talking about God, her mom. Why do you think Reverend Dimsdale defends Hester when the others try to take her away? I hope by now that you have figured out that Dimsdale is most likely the father. Who demands that him and the Reverend live together? Why does he demand this? Her husband says, hey, we're both single dudes, and you can teach me and help me with medicine and all of this. He's just being evil. But her husband wants Reverend Dimsdale to live with him, mainly so he can question him because he wants his revenge on the Reverend. How does the rest of the Puritan community view Reverend Dimsdale? They think he's a saint. He can do no wrong. He's perfect, which is also what is eating at him. It's eating him to pieces. And then number 5, where does the Reverend go in the middle of the night? He goes to the stockades where they had originally put Hester, and where she was shamed. And he screams because he's like, you know what? Everyone needs to know what I've done. And he's frustrated and he needs to let it all out because he's tired of holding it all in. So, that's just funny that I posted the wrong questions. So, next week, you will have the correct questions. Or this week. Sorry. So you have a figurative language at home assignment. It's just four figurative language things. It's 8 questions. It's super easy. Another spelling and punctuation practice, and then your Scarlet letter questions. So I'm going to pull this up. We're going to read the 3rd section. It is loading for us. I hope you guys are not too miserable. I know I'm bored out of my mind at home, but... Okay, so at the end of that section, he said, is it you, Hester and little Pearl? And so this is where we're getting to. Yes, it is I and my little Pearl. Where are you coming from? What sent you here? I have been watching at old Governor Winthrop's deathbed. I've taken his measure for a burial robe, and I am now going home. Come up here, Hester, thou and little Pearl. Ye both have been here before, but I was not with you. Come up again, and we will stand all 3 together. Okay, so he's feeling guilty, but get over it. You couldn't own up to your stuff before. I'm trying to find. Minister? Yes, child. Wilt thou stand here with me, my mother and me, tomorrow at noon? Nay, my child. I shall indeed stand with thy mother and thee on another day, but not tomorrow. So he still won't admit what he's done. At what other time, then? On Judgment Day. Then thy mother and thou and I must stand together, but the daylight of this world shall not see our meeting. So he's saying he's never going to confess to it. He's waiting until Judgment Day. Okay, it's dark. He sees the stars. Pearl says, "Ooh, look, there's somebody." "Who is that man, Hester? I shiver at him." "Dost thou know that man? I hate him, Hester." So you can see it's her husband coming up. "I can tell thee who he is, minister." And then the little Pearl says something. "Dost thou mock me? Thou wouldst not promise to take my hand and my mother's hand tomorrow at noon." "Pious Master Dimsdale, can this be you? We men of study, whose heads are in our books, need to be looked after. We dream in our waking moments and walk in our sleep." Okay, so right here is where Pearl was kind of mocking him. Like, yeah, you said you wouldn't stand with us. So, Come, let me lead you home. How knowest thou that I was here? I knew nothing. I spent the better part of the night at the bedside of old Governor Winthrop, and was on my way home. I will go home with you. Okay, so the next day they're at the church. It was found this morning on the scaffold. Satan dropped it there, intending a scurrilous jest. Did your reverence hear of the portent that was seen last night? A great red letter in the sky, the letter A, which we interpret to stand for angel. As our good Governor Winthrop has made an angel this past night, it was fit there should be notice thereof. So he's like, oh gosh, I'm about to get made. They're gonna say the A on Hester's chest, but no, he's like, angel, Governor Winthrop died. No, I had not heard it. Okay, so they're all leaving. Did you see the woman with the embroidered badge? It is our Hester, who is sick, so kind to the poor, so helpful to the sick, so comfortable to the afflicted. What does the A stand for? Why, Abel, of course. It is said that an Indian drew an arrow against the badge, and that the missile struck it, but fell harmless to the ground. So some people are starting to forget, okay? After things pass, some people are starting to forget how horrible that Hester supposedly is. Okay, so they go. Would it be better to send Pearl at once to heaven and go off myself to such fealty as eternal justice should provide? Little Pearl! So she's made herself a little necklace with the A on it so she can be like her mother. I wonder if mother will ask me what it means. My little Pearl, the green letter on thy childish bosom has no purpose. But dost thou know why thy mother wears this letter? It is for the same reason that the minister keeps his hand over his heart. And what reason is that? Why dost thou wear this scarlet letter on thy bosom? And why does the minister keep his hand over his heart? What shall I say? No, if this be the price of the child's sympathy, I cannot pay it. So she's going back and forth worrying, like, Pearl's old enough to know what's going on, and she's like, do I really tell her what happened? Silly Pearl, what questions are these? What know I of the minister's heart? And as for the scarlet letter, I wear it for the sake of its gold thread. So she chose to lie. And then her husband walks up. She says, Pearl, run down to the water and play. Come thou into the pool. Splash. So she's playing, running off. I hear good tidings of you, mistress. Last night a magistrate was discoursing of your affairs and whispered to me that in the council it was debated whether or not yonder scarlet letter might be taken off your bosom. On my life I made my entreaty that it might be done forthwith. It lies not in the pleasure of the magistrates to take off this badge. Were I worthy to be quit of it, it would fall away from its own nature, or be transformed into something that should speak a different purpose. Okay, so they say they're talking about letting her take it off, but she says, no, I've earned it. Wear it then, if it suits you better. When we last spoke together, now 7 years ago, it was your pleasure to extort a promise of secrecy, as touching the former relationships betwixt yourself and me. As the life of good fame yonder man were in your hands, there seemed no choice to me save between silent in accordance with your behest. Yet having cast off all duty towards other human beings, there remained a duty towards him. Something whispered in me that I was betraying it in pledging myself to keep your counsel. Since that day no man is so near him as you. Your clutch is on his life, and you cause him to die daily, living death, and he still knows you not. So she's saying, hey, you've let me go of all this grief, and you've let me stop feeling guilty for it, but why do you still have your grasps on Reverend Dimsdale? Like, you are causing him so many problems and grief. And in permitting this, I have surely acted a false part by the only man whom the power was left to me to be true. What choice had you? My finger pointed at this man would have hurled him from his pulpit into a dungeon, and thence perhaps into the gallows. It had been better so. What evil have I done the man? But for my aid, his life would have been burned away in torments with the first 2 years after his crime and thine. His spirit lacked the strength that could have been borne him up. As thine hath beneath the burden as thy scarlet letter. Hast thou not tortured him enough, though? Hast he not paid thee all? So she's like, hey, I get you're trying to, quote, help him, but you're torturing him. Give it a rest. No, no, he has but increased the debt. Why hast thou not avenged thyself on me? I have left thee to the scarlet letter. If that have not avenged me, I can do no more. I must reveal the secret of thine identity to him. What may be the result, I know not. But this long debt of confidence due from me to him shall at length be paid. Go thy ways and deal as thou wilt with yonder man. Be it sin or so, I hate the man. He has done me worse wrong than I've done him. Okay. The Reverend Master Dimsdale? After he visited yesterday, he went to the woods to minister to the Indian converts. He said he would be returning tomorrow afternoon. So she's looking for him. She wants to talk to him. Said he went to the woods. So they go back to the woods, her little Pearl. Mother, the sunshine does not love you. It runs away and hides itself because it is afraid of something on your bosom. It will not flee from me, for I wear nothing on my bosom yet. Okay, they're sitting. They finally find him. See, he's walking with a cane. He's not that old, but he's walking with a cane and he's sick. Wilt thou go and play, child? But do not stray far. Keep where thou can hear the babble of the brook. Arthur Dimsdale, who speaks? Hester Prynne, art thou in life? In such life has been mine these 7 years past, and thou, Arthur Dimsdale, dost thou yet live? When he almost falls and she has to catch him. So, I mean, he's sick. He's gotten super sick. Okay, hast thou found peace? Hast thou? None, nothing but despair, Hester. I am most miserable. The people reverence thee, and thou surely workest good among them. Does this not bring thee no comfort? As concerns of the good which may appear to thee, what can a ruined soul like mine effect towards the redemption of other souls? And as for the people reverence, would that it were turned to scorn and hatred. I must stand up in my pulpit and meet so many eyes turned upward to my face, as if the light of heaven were beaming from it, and then look inward and discern the black reality of what they idolize. So he's saying all these people idolize me and think I'm great because I'm the Reverend, but I have to look inside of me and realize how horrible I've been. You wrong yourself in this. You have deeply and sorely repented. Your present life is not less holy in truth than it seems in people's eyes. Happy are you, Hester, that wear the scarlet letter openly upon your bosom. Mine burns in secret. What a relief it is, after the torment of 7 years' cheat, to look into the eye that recognizes me for what I am. It is falsehood, emptiness, death. Thou hast long and had an enemy, and dwellest with him under the same roof. What mean you? Oh, Arthur, forgive me. I consented to a deception. That old man, the physician whom they call Roger Chillingsworth, he was my husband. The shame! The horrible ugliness of this exposure of a sick and guilty heart to the very eye that would gloat over it. Woman, thou art accountable for this. I cannot forgive thee. Let God punish. Thou shalt forgive. Wilt thou forgive? I do forgive you, Hester. May God forgive us both. We are not in the worst sinners in the world. There is one even worse. That old man's revenge has been blacker than my sin. He has violated the sanctity of the human heart. Thou and I, Hester, never did so. What we did had concertion of its own. Okay, so he's saying he feels bad, but he forgives her, saying that what Roger Chillingsworth, what her husband did, or has been doing, is way worse. So here's a new horror. Roger Chillingworth knows your purpose to reveal his true character. What will now be the course of his revenge? There is strange secrecy in his nature. I deem it not likely that he will betray our secret. He will seek other means of satiating his dark passion. And how am I to live longer, breathing the same air with this deadly enemy? Thou must dwell no longer with him. But how to avoid him? Shall I lie down here and die? Be strong for me. Advise me what to do. This forest track leads into the wilderness. There thou art free. Is there not enough shade in this forest to hide thy heart from the gaze of Roger Chillingsworth? Yes, but only under the falling leaves. Then there is a broad pathway of the sea. It brought thee here, it can bear thee back again. In England, whether in some remote rural village or in vast London, thou wouldst be beyond his power and knowledge, or in Germany, France, or Italy. She's saying, go find the sea, get on a boat, go back to where you came from. I am powerless to go, wretched, sinful as I dare not quit my post. Leave it all behind thee. Be the teacher and the apostle of red men. Or be a scholar and sage among the wisest and most renowned of the cultivated world. Preach, write, act, do anything but lie down and die. Give up the name of Arthur Dimmesdale, and make thyself another one that thou canst wear without fear or shame. But there is not strength or courage left in me to venture into the wide, strange, difficult world alone. He's saying, I'm too weak to do it myself. Like, I would, but I can't do it myself. So she tears off her letter, throws it, takes off her bonnet, and then looks all pretty. A ship lies in the harbor, recently arrived from the Spanish Main. Soon it will sail for England. I can secure in secret passage for 2 individuals and a child. When precisely is the ship expected to depart? Probably on the 4th day from now. That is most fortunate. In 3 days I am to preach the election sermon. I could not have chanced upon a more suitable mode in time of terminating my professional career. At least they shall say of me that I leave no public duty unperformed. This is already the better life. Why did we not find it sooner? Thou must know Pearl. She's a strange child, whom I hardly comprehend myself, but thou wilt love her dearly, as do I, and wilt advise me how to deal with her. Will the child be glad to know me? She will love thee dearly, and thou her. Pearl! So she hears her name, runs back. Here is a friend of mine, who must be thy friend also. Thou wilt have twice as much love henceforth as thy mother alone could give thee. Leap across the brook and come to us. So she points, and she's pointing at her mother. Leap across the brook, naughty child, else I must come to thee. And she screams and she freaks out, and you can notice at this bottom picture there, she's freaking out because she has only ever seen her mother with the A on her chest. So she's saying, something's not right. This is not right. I'm not coming. Can't make me. I see what ails the child. Pearl misses something which she has always seen me wear. If thou lovest me, pacify her. Pearl, look down at thy feet. Okay, so she sees the A. Bring it here. Thou must come and take it up. She is right. The forest cannot hide this hateful token. I must bear its torture a few days longer, until we shall have left the region. Then the mid-ocean shall take it from my hand and swallow it up forever. So she says, I'm going to wear it for the few more days that we're here, and then I'm going to throw it into the ocean. So she puts it back on and puts her appropriate bonnet back on. Wilt thou now come across the brook, now that your mother has her shame upon her, now that she is sad? Of course, she runs across and gives her mom a hug. Now thou art my mother indeed, and I am thy little Pearl. Why doth the minister sit yonder? Doth he love us? Will he go back with us hand in hand, we 3 together into town? In days to come he will walk hand in hand with us. And will he always keep his hand over his heart? Foolish child, come and ask his blessing. So she goes to try and talk to him, and he gives her a little kiss. Okay, so remember, in 4 days, they're going to go and they're going to take off all 3 of them together. Okay, so that's part of the questions. Okay, again, if you have any questions, please email me, message me on here. Keep asking and keep in touch with all of your other teachers. All right, y'all have a good day.